I am sorry to be a little delayed here. My daughter's about ready to have a little baby. And so with that, it's going to be my fourth grandchild. So she told me, she says, Dad, we may have to go to the hospital. Luckily, we didn't have to. I had to spend the evening at her home while her husband is at work. So that's why I'm a little delayed or a little flustered today. But as we move forward, okay, who am I if you don't know? I am Jim Gibbons of Jim Gibbons Historical Presentations. The cool stuff is you don't have to write any of this junk down because it's all in my cards over here, right? Now, if you want to look me up, there's my website. It is www.jimgibbonshistorian.com. I often ask everybody please to look under Jim Gibbons Historian and not so much Jim Gibbons by itself. Otherwise, you're going to find this governor of Nevada that's gotten a little trouble. It's not me. I am not Jim Gibbons of Channel 7 Eyewitness News. He has been dead for 25 years. People are always asking me that. Nope, I'm not him, and I'm glad I'm not him, at least at this point. And then also, I'm not, if you have any old clothes or anything like that, I'm not Jim Gibbons of Goodwill Industries either. However, I have goodwill for all of you this morning. If it wasn't for you folks, I couldn't be here. So thank you very, very much for coming. So if you want to contact me, here's several different ways. This is jimgibbons1048@gmail.com. Again, this is all on my cards. There's my cell phone as well as my home phone, right? And there you go. And so I have a saying that goes, life is no mystery when you know and you learn your history, right? The history of anything out there. Now, usually I'll have something up by George Santayana, but he said this, he said, those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it, right? I think today it's more like those who choose to ignore the past are condemned to repeat it. So what we're going to do is we're going to be talking, who the Dickens are we talking? Oh yeah, we're going to be talking about Dickens today, right? That's what we're going to be talking about. But what we're going to do is I'm going to take you for a time. We're going to go back in time. Now think of a time to where, before we had all the social media to where everybody's talking together, right? So think about that. Think of a time before that. Think of a time before there was any kind of an internet whatsoever, no website, none of that kind of stuff. Think of a time to where we didn't have television like that. In fact, that guy, he's sitting too close to the set. That's what my father would say all the way back then. He's going to ruin his eyes. Think of a time before radio. Think of a time before the telephone, all the way back in time. And as you're going way back in time, think of a time when there's no Facebook, no texting, okay? No cell phone, no radio, no television, and no computer. No computer. And think about this, and there's something else. And the only tweeting that you'd hear are what? The birds. Oh my gosh, what kind of a time period was that? Well, what you mean we had nothing? We had nothing all the way back then. What sort of a Superman would be able to help us out with something like that? Well, I'll tell you the Dickens if I know, right? There he is right there, Charles Dickens. Wow. I don't know how many of you, and you probably did like I did, I had to learn a whole bunch of reading in high school on Charles Dickens. I heard today they're going, who the Dickens is he? Nobody seems to know, but I had like Tale of Two Cities. I had you know, you read stories about, like Oliver Twist in there. That's another one that you'd be reading about in there. Great Expectations. All these really good stories came from him. And actually, he had them coming from life. So let's go forward here with Charles Dickens a little bit, okay? Charles Dickens was born to John Dickens and Elizabeth Barrow Dickens. So there's mommy and daddy right there. And they were rather affluent. Everything was fine. Everything was great. Doing wonderful, wasn't he? But there is something, and this is so totally ironic. This almost reminds me of Winston Churchill's mother. Did you know that the two of them like to have parties? They love to have a real good time, a real fun time. Well, guess what? She is going to wind up, they love dancing. Dancing and having, parties and things at their home, going to parties. Well, one day, she's going to be dancing, and just like my daughter, I think I'm going to have a little one. I think I'm going to have a baby. Oh my gosh, I'm going to have a baby now. And she winds up on, it's going to be February 7th, 1812, like the overture, right? Charles John Huffman Dickens is born. to a very, very good family. In fact, he's going to wind up, there's going to be quite a few Dickens children. In fact, there's going to be about 8 Dickens children are going to be born, and he's going to be the eldest of these 8 Dickens children. And so February 7th of 1812 at 393 Commercial Road, Landport in Portsea Island, Portsmouth, England, there he is, there's his home. That's where little Charles Dickens is born. Our great writer, all that kind of stuff. He was born, he must have had great expectations, didn't he? Oh, some of you caught that other day. So as we move forward, though, his family is going to be moving forward. But who's he going to wind up being born under? All the way under King George III. So that's the time frame that you're going to see Charles Dickens being born. So he's born the lineage of King George III is what he's been born in that time. And then this is going to be the time for our presidency of James Madison. James Madison. So when you think of 1812, what do you think of? You kind of think of this, don't you? There's Dolly Madison. She's not making cakes and pies. She's trying to get out of that White House, isn't she? Because why? We've got the British coming. The British are coming. They're going to have a nice backyard barbecue for us, aren't they? There it is right there. The entire White House is burned out. So this is the War of 1812. So this happens to be the time period when Charles Dickens is born. So it'll kind of give you an idea again. The king is there of England, and you also have, they're at war with the United States. August 23rd, 1812, there goes your White House. And by the way, just to let you know, the White House today, the outside is the original White House. The inside has all been remodeled several times, right? So they're going to move, age 5. And so you're going to wind up at the 2 Ordnance Terrace in Chatham, England. And 1817 through May of 1821 is when they moved in. Now, he'll be age 5 when he moves into this building. The interesting thing is that he lived more on this end here. In fact, there is something that's rather interesting. So think of Charles Dickens living right in here. Do you know he was way ahead of his time? I didn't know this, but he's the only person to ever have a satellite dish all the way back then, right? Of course, his reception was lousy. He had a lot of problems with it, but he was ahead of his time, wasn't he? So all kidding aside, his father wound up working for the Navy Pay Office's headquarters in Somerset House. That's where he's going to wind up working. And his father liked to party. I told you that. He liked to spend money. Lots and lots and lots of money. He didn't care how much money he spent. His wife didn't care how much money they spent until what? Until all of a sudden your bill collectors are going to start coming after him. In the meantime, though, Charles is going to be walking with his father one day, and they're going to see this home, almost like the Clampett Mansion, right? There it is there. Wow, Dad, is that a beautiful house? I've never seen anything like that. Well, son, you know, if you work hard enough and smart enough, someday you may be able to afford a home just like that. So Charles Dickens really took his father's thinking to heart, and as he moves forward with his life, he might be interested in a house like that. In the meantime, though, his dad liked to spend and spend and spend. He was busy throwing money out the window like crazy, wasn't he? Till all of a sudden, guess what? He goes bankrupt. Now, today we can walk away from bankruptcy, can't we? But back then, you couldn't do that. You couldn't walk away from bankruptcy even though you tried. Now, the interesting thing is this. If anybody... Remember Micawber in there who happened to be, that's W.C. Fields in there. But you take a look at the role W.C. Fields had to play, and basically that was his father. His father was that way. What he would do is he would wind up, David Copperfield was the name of it. Great movie to watch. Great movie, especially with the part of Micawber being W.C. Fields. That was his dad. That was definitely the role model was for Micawber was definitely his father. His father would kind of be very, very pleasant and all that kind of stuff and walk away from every debt he had. The drawback is people out there getting angry, aren't they? Like that guy right up there. They're going to get pretty angry. We want our money. We want our money. We want our money. And so, what, me worry? Like Alfred E. Newman, I don't have to worry about anything. Oh, well, we'll get the money for them. We'll get the money for them. There's no problem with that. Well, back then they had something which is called debtor's prison. And so guess what? I mean, you can't declare bankruptcy. And so this is the debtor's prison right here in Southwark, London, 1824. But you know what's kind of nice, as Archie Bunker would say? All the family gets to stay in there. So it's just not the person who owes the money. You can have your entire family staying with you in prison. Isn't that nice? However, if you happen to be like a certain age, you know, we need somebody out there to work. And these people were middle class, everything's fine. However, Daddy spent and spent and spent and spent. So with that, his son's gonna wind up having to work. So you're gonna wind up with Charles Dickens at age 12 years old. My God, 6 days a week, 10 hours a day. And I'm having to put shoe polish is what I'm having to do. Well, we have this shoe polish product out there, and I have to label it, and I have to bottle it, I have to do all kinds of stuff with this crazy shoe polish. I hate this. This is slave labor. This is child labor. But I gotta help to pay my father's debts. This is terrible. I wish the heck that guy wasn't in debt like this, because then I wouldn't have to do this. My entire life is ruined. I wanted to move forward, and now I'm embarrassed that my father, first of all, is in prison over here, and now I have to do this. Thank God people aren't watching me 24 hours a day. Otherwise, I don't know what I'd do. Well, here's the slum. I mean, here's the office building that he worked out of, right? And that's pretty similar to the building that the shoe polishing company was in. And so imagine this. Imagine you have to work in a place with all these old wooden stairs, and that's what he had to deal with. But there's something else he's got to deal with too. What's downstairs and what's kind of creeping up from the basement? Mice. All kinds of mice all over the place. They didn't have Orkin back then. So you've got all this stuff in here. It's like, my gosh, I'm going to go crazy. I'm going to go nuts. And what if they bite me? You know, if I suddenly get bitten by a mouse or a rat or something, right? I could get diseased. This is terrible. This is awful. What could be worse than this? Oh, well, we got some news for you, Charles. We're going to be moving. Where? To a storefront. Oh, no. You mean to tell me now all my neighbors and stuff, as I'm having to work this product, I have to sit in front of a storefront as all my neighbors are watching me? And they know there's a problem. Thank heavens I've got Bob Fagin. There's a boy by the name of Bob Fagin who's going to be his friend. Note the word Fagin. Isn't that amazing in there? There's kind of a twist to that one, isn't there? And so he's going to wind up telling him, you know, it's a hard life and that kind of stuff, but here's how you kind of get around or what you have to do in order to move ahead. And so he's going to take Fagin and eventually put him as the character Fagin in Oliver Twist. Isn't that cool? So he's now taking some of his life experiences, and eventually he's going to go into writing with that kind of stuff, right? But again, he really doesn't know what he wants to do. And then, oh, thank God, Dad's finally paid off. I helped him pay all these bills and that kind of stuff. So now he's finally getting out of jail, right? We're all out of jail. And I'm going to be able to get rid of that stinking job. I was there for at least a good year, 2 years almost. I'm so glad to be out of there. However, Mom's got a different idea. She's got money in her eye. You know what? Why not keep Charles working? After all, he's been bringing in some money in here. Might as well keep it coming in the family, right? Charles is not going to be too happy with his mother's decision because, my gosh, what are you doing? You're making me awfully poor. You're making me look horrible in front of people. This is slave labor. This is child labor here. I can't believe that my mom's doing this to me, but she wants money, 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 money. What am I going to do? And so he's just, you know, he's ready to snap. It's that bad. Is his whole life over? But somehow somebody upstairs kind of is a guide, right? And somehow there are things why we all have this happen, at least I did. I can't understand why I've been put over here in such misery, and yet that's to bring me here today, like I am right now. So I've gone through crazy things like this too, cried pretty much just like that there, and survived it. In fact, moved forward with what I had to do and didn't even know I had to do it. So now he's upset. So what's going to wind up happening is he's going to wind up having for a while to live with his aunt as well. Her name's Elizabeth Royland, and she happens to be at 112 College Place in Camden Town. And she's going to wind up being Mrs. Pipchin in Dombey and Son. So what he's going to do is, you never want to hang around with a guy like this. Can you imagine him sitting here kind of sketching? Oh, now let's see how you're kind of quirky, and I'll be writing all this stuff down. That's what he was doing. That's what he was doing. So he was starting to take people who he was dealing with in normal life and start to put them into form as far as writing them in books and things. But at this point, he's just kind of acquiring the information, isn't he? Because he doesn't know he's going to write yet. And so this is cool. What a babysitter, okay? This lady's name is Mary Weller. By the way, I had Frau Blucher kind of fill in for Mary Weller up there. She's going to be, imagine a babysitter coming saying, now, you know what I want to do with you kids tonight, particularly you, Charles? We're going to read you the story called Captain Murderer. Isn't that cool? Great bedtime story for a 12-year-old, isn't it? And you know what Captain Murderer likes to do with all of his wives? Cut them up and make them into pies. Well, this really appealed. If it was an apple pie, it really appealed to Charles. He's like, man, this Mary Weller's pretty cool. And this is actually where he kind of picked up some of this gruesome stuff, came from his babysitter. Isn't that amazing? Mary Weller was her name. And so that's what he did. And so now he's getting all these ideas. It's pretty good stuff. So it's figuring, okay, I'm going to try to move ahead now. I've been through all this child labor stuff, and I want to be able to enroll in school. So he's going to enroll at the Wellington House Academy on May of 1827. He's going to enroll there. However, his mother's going to have kind of a different idea. And she's going to turn around and say, you know what I think? I think that you should get into law. That's what I think you should do. So I want to put you with a law firm, May of 1827 through November of 1928, about a year, okay? It's called Ellis and Blackmore. You're going to be a junior law clerk. How's that? Then you can bring more money in that way, kid. How's that sound? Pretty good? Well, his end of it is this, as far as law and that kind of stuff, I could take it or leave it, but what's he learning? What's good, what's bad, and who the schnookers are. Aren't they? In fact, there's something that's rather interesting with the law, and I'll kind of use a phrase, and then this is how you have to kind of think of things in life, okay? Harry Truman one time said this. He said, the only difference between Congress and a whorehouse is a whorehouse has a piano. So when you think about what President Harry S. Truman said, now think of it this way, with everything here. My job is to get you off, whether you're a murderer or whatever. That's my job. You're paying me to get you out of here. So I'm going to do the best I can with the law to interpret it this way to get you out. Now, this is what's going to happen with Charles Dickens. It's like, I can't believe what the Dickens are they doing here, right? They're literally pushing the law towards their own direction. That's what he's seeing. And so he's going to figure out, you know, we don't have the computer back then. We don't have a typewriter. So I'm going to learn the Gurney system of shorthand as fast as I can. So now for law school, he's learning shorthand. That's how he's able to take his notes pretty doggone quick. And yet, he doesn't know what his life's going to be. Well, I guess I'm going to be, you know, a lawyer or something. I don't know what I'm going to do. However, he's going to wind up, boing, wow, what a hot chick. He suddenly sees her. His name's Maria Bednell. I have never in my life seen such a beautiful girl in my life. That's what he's going to say. He's going to, wow, I can't even speak when she comes around me. And so he's going to serenade her, all kinds of stuff below her family window, all this kind of really cool stuff. He loves, idolizes, worships, and adores her and wants to marry her. He wants to marry her big time. However, her father says, well, you know what? He's not making any money here. It's money that's important. Don't you see that's going to be the future for my daughter? I don't want to have any more to do with Charles Dickens. And so basically, they're going to be split up. She's going to wind up marrying somebody else, and he is going to wind up being very, very distraught. I can't believe I lost this beautiful, gorgeous lady, and she's gone. She's gone. What am I going to do? Well, might as well go back to that law firm, right? So he's going to wind up working, though, for a different law firm, November of 1828. He's going to work for the law firm of Charles Malloy as a law clerk. So now, again, he's moving in towards law. He's seeing all the good stuff out there, all the bad stuff out there with the law, and imagine if he had Judge Judy. He's going to be a court stenographer. Court stenographer. So he had maybe doing things like Perry Mason. He'll be freelancing out there as a court stenographer. So that's how he's going to start to make his money. Kind of like this is a more modern day court stenographer up there. But that's what Charles Dickens is going to do, except he's got to write it by shorthand pretty quick, doesn't he? Very, very quickly. That's how he's going to have to do it. So that's his job for right now. But he's not happy. He's not happy at all with the law, connected with law offices, none of that kind of stuff. It's horrible what he's seen coming through here. But he's going to wind up, you know what I think? Since I've learned how to do shorthand, I'll become maybe like Clark Kent, okay? I'll become a shorthand reporter for the Morning Chronicle, and I'll be covering Parliament. Now I can really see how honest people deal. So he's going to be dealing with the Houses of Commons and Lords, both sides he's going to be dealing with. Be able to see all the inner workings of Parliament. Wow, how honest and decent and upright and wonderful these people are. He's going to suddenly realize, my gosh, you think the lawyers are bad. You should see Parliament. It's 10 times worse. Everybody's on the take here. So he's watching this stuff, isn't he? When again, we have no television. We have nothing out there except somebody to possibly start to write. So in the meantime, he turns around, he says to himself, you know what I think I want to do? I want to be an actor. That's what I want to do. At least, you know, I kind of like theatrical type of stuff, you know? And so with that, I think an actor would be good. However, he's going to go for an audition at the Lyceum Theater. However, he's going to wind up being too sick. See, he lost his beard here, right? I'm teasing on that. But he's going to be too ill to go. And with that, he's like, well, the heck with the audition. I'm not going to do that any longer. I decided, well, I'll just move on. So he's going to start to sketch some essays, okay? Because I do like writing, I do like reporting, but I think I want to be able to put something together in a book form, something. What's going to come into my mind, okay? So he's going to call it Sketches by Bose is going to wind up being what he's going to do. Now, why would he put it in a name like Sketches by Bose out there, okay? Well, Bose was a pen name for his brother Augustus. Charles called him Moses, okay? That's after Oliver Goldsmith's Vicar of Wakefield, and that's pronounced to the nose as Boses, shortened to Bose. So Bose knows, huh? Just like, I'm not clowning around with you on this one. There is Bose up there, but that's what he's going to do. He's going to go off of a pen name called Bose, and that's people are going to be looking for that, aren't they? So now, December 1st of 1833 to December 17th of 1836, he's going to come out with the Pickwick Papers, 56 sketches published individually. So each one of them, you got to stay tuned for it, don't you? You can't just come on in here and read the whole thing together and that's it. Oh no, you got to sit there and you got to read the next one and the next one and the next one. And that's what he's going to do with you. In fact, he's going to wind up putting him from December 1st, 1833 to December 17th, 1836. He's going to be in the Morning Chronicle, the Evening Chronicle, the Monthly Magazine, the Carlton Chronicle, and the Bell's Life in London. And be sure to look for the next edition, because otherwise you won't find out the answer, will you? Wow, I got to keep buying this. I got to keep buying this Pickwick Papers. This is pretty cool stuff. What are we going to do? I have to find out. I have to be able to find out. I can't sit and wait. I can't watch my television or anything like that. We don't have it. We don't have any of the modern day conveniences that we have. So back then, he's going to, okay, I'm going to catch you by the ear. And I'm going to make it as exciting as I can. In fact, it's almost going to be, remember Who Shot JR? If any of you remember from the TV show Dallas, and I told my wife, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. What are you watching this stupid program Dallas for? Every single week you're watching this and that. Wait a minute. What? Who Shot JR? Yeah, who did shoot JR? You know that's when I got hooked on the show? It's because of, well, who shot him? Who shot JR? So all this hype was brought up. This is what Charles Dickens would do with his books and or his writing materials. I'm going to create a lot of hype. And you're going to want to know who shot JR. That's what you're going to want to know. And so he would go up to people out on the street and he'd say, so what do you think of my first edition? I thought it was great. However, you need to add this and this and this. That's what I would do. I think it would add more spice and flavor to it if you add this or subtract this. Hey, that's not a bad idea. So in the meantime, he's writing in the center. So the next edition, okay, I'm going to ask you all your questions about what you thought about the first. Well, I'll change it. I'm not going to have it end this way. I'll have it go this direction over here. Everybody wants to know who shot JR, right? So that's what he's going to wind up doing. He's going to talk to the public out there, get what their ideas are. We're going to update. We'll throw out the stuff that isn't any good, and we're going to update and take their bright ideas and put it out there. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. And guess what? I don't even have to even pay these guys for the ideas. They're all turning around and giving them to me out here in the street. This is fantastic. This is great. And so he's going to wind up updating before the stuff is even brought to publish. Isn't that cool? I just love that. I just love that. So that's how Charles Dickens is going to do it to make it more exciting and more exciting and more exciting for us to read. We're going to go crazy over this thing. We're going to be wanting to read as much as we can on Charles Dickens as fast as we can. So there he has the Pickwick Papers by Charles Dickens. He becomes now an instant celebrity. He's a total celebrity out there because everybody's reading his stuff, aren't they? But not just in Great Britain. They're reading it throughout the world. The United States, everybody's reading his stuff because he's the only thing out there, isn't he? And he's actually taking a lot of his things from how he grew up as a child. And so we want more, we want more, we want more. As much as you can give us, we want it. Okay, well, I'll get writer's cramp, I'm going to do it. In the meantime, though, he's going to fall in love with somebody, okay? Her name is Catherine Thompson Kate Hogarth is her name. She happens to be the daughter of George Hogarth, who happens to be the editor of the Evening Chronicle. Nice person to marry, right? Now, he thought she was okay. She's all right. I mean, she's very pretty looking, and I guess she'll do. But, you know, I did miss the other girl. I mean, she was so beautiful, so fantastic. But I think I'll marry her. And they're going to wind up having 10 children together. That's a lot. It's a lot of kids. 8, I thought 8 was enough, right? But Catherine Thompson Kate Hogarth is going to wind up being his beautiful wife. And so 10 children, they're going to live happily ever after, aren't they? No, not necessarily, but we'll kind of keep going on that. Now, here comes the other woman, but this is actually her sister. This is Mary Scott Hogarth is her name, and she dies at age 17. in his arms. All of a sudden it winds up being she's at the house and she suddenly gets sick and dies right in Dickens's arms. It's like, whoa, it's almost like Alfred Hitchcock with Vertigo. Here comes somebody else, and there she is. Well, that was her sister, and she was so beautiful, but now she's gone. So he's going to start pining for the dead sister and start kind of, putting towards other books and things his ideas with the dead sister in there as well. So here it comes, The Adventures of Oliver Twist, or The Parish Boy's Progress. This is going to be from February 1837 through April of 1839. See how long that took to do the twist, right? Right there. Monthly installments. So every month you're going to be reading about Oliver Twist, but I'm going to hold it here, and then we're going to have it the next installment coming up after that, next month, and next month, and next month. And by the way, if you bump into me over here, I may have the idea for finishing the book up over here, but basically, by the time I talk to everybody, it'll be totally different. So he's also going to do The Life and Adventures of Nicholas Nickleby, a comic novel from 1838 through 1839. Again, all monthly installments are going to be here. The Old Curiosity Shop. Old Curiosity Shop. This is the life of Nell Trent and her grandfather. April 25th, 1840, February 6th to 1841. This again is going to wind up being monthly installments. Somebody else is going to wind up reading The Old Curiosity Shop. What's going to wind up happening is that father is going to have great love for his daughter. There she is right there, and he's actually going to nickname her Little Nell. You're my little Nell, just like Dickens's Curiosity Shop. And you know who that little girl was? Eleanor Roosevelt. See, 100 years later, you have Eleanor Roosevelt coming out, and what the Dickens are they reading? They're reading Dickens, aren't they? Very, very much so. So this is called Master Humphrey's Clock. It's going to be a weekly series, 1840 to 1841. So again, we have another series coming out. Then there's going to be Barnaby Rudge, and that's the tale of the riots of the 80, okay? This is his first historical novel that he's going to do. In fact, he's actually going to do two of them. He's going to have this one, which is Barnaby Rudge, and the other one's going to be called what? Tale of Two Cities. Oh, Madame Defarge, you got to watch out for her, right? She'll cut off your head. And so February 13th of 1841 through November 27th, 1841, Barnaby Ridge will come out. Then we have this. Now, this is The Life and Adventures of Martin Chuzzlewit is the name of it. This is January of 1843 through July of 1844. The drawback is this one isn't doing well. It's not doing well at all. But this, I put all my heart and soul into this thing. Don't you see this, guys? It should be fantastic. It should be real, real good. Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I see that you English people don't like it. We'll change it. I'm going to say as a guy from the United States. You know the people from the United States, they're kind of rude and ignorant anyway. In fact, at one point when he went to the United States, you know what really bothered him? Plagiarism. And he turned around, he says, you know something, this is my trip to the United States. You people have some of my stuff out there under your own names. This isn't right. I did this stuff. You guys didn't do this, so don't be selling my stuff under your name. He's going to be upset about that, but this is going to bother him that Martin Chuzzlewit isn't going to move forward. Son of a gun, I got this other pet project on the side, but this is the one I really want to push. This is the one you guys you really gotta go for. But you know what though? I've got this one I'm doing in my spare time. Let's see what's the name of it. Oh yes, it's called A Christmas Carol. Is the name of this one, okay? And this is going to be done in his spare time. December 19th of 1843, okay? He said he laughed and he cried over this whole thing. I can't believe this Christmas Carol. Over in 1 week, 6,000 copies are going to sell of this thing. And this is something he did in his spare time. Isn't it funny how we have kind of funny little things to where, well, here's the main thing over here. No, it's this that we're interested in. And so all this stuff is going to wind up coming into the Christmas Carol. So then he's going to have one which is called The Chimes. And The Chimes is going to come out in 1844. This is called A Goblin Story on this one. So this is The Chimes. Then he's going to have Cricket on the Hearth. That's going to be 1845. And then he's going to wind up The Battle of Life, A Love Story. That's another one he's going to come out. Now he's going to come out with a grand total of 15 books. 15 is what he's going to come out with. Dombey and Son, October of 1846 through April of 1848. So again, these are going to wind up being in installments. Every time you're going to go out there, you're going to want to read them and read them. Well, wait a minute, we were stopping at this point here. Well, now we're going to wind up having to wait till the next installment to find out the answer, right? Then The Haunted Man, The Goat's Bargain, that's going to be in 1848. Another one he comes out with. And then David Copperfield. How many have seen David Copperfield in here? Oh, we got to see it. That's a fantastic movie, book. I have read it. I read it in high school. A very, very good book. This is his life. If the guy was here, he used to say, this is your life, this would be his life. Except he never told anybody that this book, David Copperfield, was actually based after his life. And all the child labor, all the debtors' prisons, that kind of stuff. It is all based on his life. In fact, like I said, even Macabre, who's in there, is based on his dad. That's who it is. And so all this stuff, David Copperfield, is basically his life. Then you have The Bleak House, which is March 1852 through September of 1853. Again, another Charles Dickens classic. Then Hard Times for These Times, April 1st, April 54 through August 12th of 1854. Again, another one of Charles Dickens' books. Now, guess who's suddenly going to start sneaking back into his life? Here she comes. It is now Maria Bednall. There she is. Except she's kind of bigger than she used to be. She's kind of really bigger than what she used to be. And so it's going to wind up being, this is what, now wait a minute. Let me see a photo of you then, and this is you now. Whoa, you weren't half the size you are today. It's like unbelievable. Well, this is going to start to bother Charles Dickens very much. And he figures, well, you know what? Maybe you're coming back to me now because I'm pretty popular, right? I wasn't over here, but now, hey, I wasn't good back then, but baby, look at me today. And so that's what he's going to do. He's going to kind of turn her away a little bit. However, he's actually going to wind up using her in one of his stories as well. If you ever, in fact, it's going to wind up being Little Dorrit's going to wind up being the name of the story he's going to come out with, December of 1855 through June of 1857. And that's going to be based on this Maria Bednall. Isn't that something? Isn't that interesting? It's like you never realize how you'd wind up in his books. But there it is. So now he winds up being able to buy that house. He has enough money. He purchased March of 1856. He's going to purchase Gad's Hill Place. And there it is right there, right before. And he's going to live in that house. He's going to die in that house. So he finally got his dream home of what he wanted. However, there's something else. He's also going to be able to, he loves to be able to perform. Remember I told you how he liked to be able to do some theatrics? Well, now with his books, he's going to be able to go out and do some theater work as well. He's going to be with his daughter, Mary Mamie, and Katie Dickens, both of them, plus his sister's his wife's sister, that's Georgina, is going to wind up being in these plays with him in front of who? Her Majesty. So the Queen of England is going to wind up getting hooked on JR as well. She's going to really, really, really like his performances, all this kind of stuff. And so Dickens is going to go out there and start performing in front of everybody. I thought that was pretty cool too. Well, guess what? His wife, who had all those children, 10 children, you know what's going to wind up with him? She's too heavy. Look at how big she got. And that's going to be a problem for Dickens, which I'm like, vanity. She stuck with you for 10 children, and now you're going to scoot. Vanity. So look at that. Wow, she's just twice the size. And what's going to wind up happening with her is, by the way, all you children, now who do you want to be with, Mommy or me? Well, we want to be with you, Dad, except for one of them. So basically, she is going to be left on her own until he dies. And as soon as he does, all the children are going to go right back to their mother. That's what they're going to wind up doing. Isn't that amazing? But that's what happened to Mrs. Dickens. She all of a sudden wound up going off the side. So with that, he suddenly gets interested in Ellen Ternan, and she happened to be an actress. 1858 is when he's going to get interested in her. She's 19 years old. So he gets kind of interested in her at 19 years old. And then, by the way, though, later on, she kind of referred to him as an old coot, an old goat, and she really didn't like him. However, I guess money does kind of do things, doesn't it, a little bit, to where she'll hang around with him for a while. She'll be a sweetie pie in there. They never get married because guess what? The other two, he was separated from his wife. He wasn't divorced. Because they weren't divorced back then, you can't remarry somebody else. So he's going to wind up pretty well being separated from his wife. But here's his sweetie pie right there. Ellen Ternan was her name. And basically, she's going to turn on him pretty soon, isn't she, after he's dead? P.U. So here's a big one that I love. In fact, the very, very first play I was ever in, I was in 6th grade. It was Oliver. It was Oliver. It was in Hinsdale, at the Hinsdale Community House is where I was. And I played the part of Charlie Bates. And I didn't realize Charlie Bates gets his face slapped pretty bad by this one lady. And there's like, my gosh, I'll never forget that slap. But the interesting thing is, if you have ever seen Oliver, you know that he liked to go around and play the parts of Bill Sikes. That's what, if Charles Dickens was here, he would be playing the bad guy, Bill Sikes. And Bill Sikes is going to what? He's going to betray Nancy and turn around and kill her, isn't he? She's going to love him. The song, As Long as He Needs Me, is going to come out from this. And again, Sikes will eventually kill Nancy in here, and he played the mean part of Bill Sikes. Isn't that amazing? He didn't play Fagin, he played Bill Sikes in this. Very, very good record, by the way. It's called Oliver, song Consider Yourself One of Us. Is Food, Glorious Food is another one's in there. Huge record, Oliver. So, Tale of Two Cities. Here it comes right here. April 30th, 1859 through November 26th, 1859 as well. The French Revolution, over 200 million copies sold. I think Lyons Township High School bought at least a half of these because we read this thing backwards, forwards, inside and out. My sophomore year in high school, boy, did I know about Madame Defarge out there. You didn't go around her because they'd cut your head off. This is the French Revolution, right? That's how we take care of things. Slip. Slice of life, isn't it? So there it is right there. Tale of Two Cities, great book, came out again, and this is historical in here. So this is something to where he only had two books that were actually based on history, and this is it here, right there, Tale of Two Cities, and that's the French Revolution. You also had the English involved in there as well. Great Expectations. I consider this to be the best book that Dickens did. I like this one. I like this one. December of 1860 through August of 1861, there's going to be 6 installments on this thing. This is the saddest thing. How many people read Great Expectations? Okay. I felt sorry for Miss Havisham. I really did. This is a lady who was stood up and had her entire wedding, her entire party all ready, and will leave it. And she'll just sit and sit and sit and wait for her man to come back, and he never does. And there's a fellow by name Pip who's going to walk in there and see her place, and there's all these mice all eating her cake. And had all cobwebs, all that kind of stuff. But I think this is the greatest. I love Great Expectations. Fantastic book. So now he's going to go on tour, and he's going to start going. So he's kind of like Elvis, right? 1863, France and England, he's going to wind up touring. Now, the interesting thing with him, you know, you have people that dress up on stuff. You've seen all those people out there dress up. I never do. I say I'm Mike Wallace up here. I don't dress up because I want to kind of portray the character or throw my voice out to do a little different. If I was going to do, say, like if I was doing something on Richard Dickens, I'd talk about Richard Nixon or Ronald Reagan. I do a Ronald Reagan up here, right? Or, hey, baby, I'd even do a Bill Clinton. So I can do that, switch back and forth. You know he did that too? I didn't know that until I read about him. He would come in clothed like I am, and he would start to do his books in front of you. And as he's doing it, he would suddenly put in different voices for different characters within his books. They loved it. They thought it was fantastic. So he did France, and he did a tour of England in 1863. He's also going to come out with another book, another bunch. It's called Our Mutual Friend, May of 1864 through November of 1865. So we have that one he comes out with. Then, hey, might as well, I was in an accident here, might as well put that out in black and white, right? It's called the Staplehurst Rail Crash, okay? And he's going to wind up being on this train, June 9th of 1865. 10 passengers are killed and 40 are going to be injured. What a great novel this is going to make. So he brought that one out as well. Then he's going to tour England and Scotland in 1866. He's going to go from one theater to another theater to another theater and dress just like that. He's going to have the audience out there like, wow, we're spellbound on what you're doing. He also was very, very big at this time in politics, wasn't he, when you think about it? But he was able to talk more about it because, after all, I'm just a speaker, aren't I? I'm not your politician. So I could pretty well tell you about the sweatshops, which I don't believe in. I don't believe how these children are being treated. I don't believe how these immigrants are being treated as well. Right? So he's going to be able to talk about that and use that through his books to come out towards you. Then in 1867, he's going to tour England and Ireland again. And then here comes the United States. This is the second time in 1868 he's going to wind up touring the United States. And so he's pretty much on tour out there, isn't he? However, in 1869, he's going to wind up collapsing. He's going to collapse on the tour in England, and they think that he had a possible stroke. And with that, he is not going to be able to tour any longer. No more touring. So here it comes. This is called his unfinished book. It's called The Mystery of Edwin Drood. And trust me, this is a mystery because he dropped dead right in the center of a thing. And so as he's writing it, April 1870 through September of 1870, his book, they brought it out in 1870, but he was already dead. He's going to wind up dying of a stroke right in the middle of writing this book. Going to go downstairs and say, you know, I don't feel quite too good and won't make it. So June 9th of 1870, Charles John Huffman Dickens will die, Gads Hill Place. That's the house he always wanted. Stroke at age 58. Wow, I'm 66. You look at that, that's a young man. That's a young man. But again, having 10 kids, that probably was enough to drive him towards a stroke too at one point, right? Then traveling all throughout the country and things. But look at all the really cool stuff that he left behind us. Now, he wants to be buried at Rochester Cathedral at his parents' graves. He wants to be buried there. However, there's a problem out there. He's too popular. We can't bury him there. We're going to have to do something different. So bear with me. I'm going to try to read this for you. This was published that day, The Funeral of Charles Dickens. It will be gratifying surprise to admirers of Charles Dickens to learn that his remains have been entombed in Westminster Abbey. So he's not going to get his wishes. Yesterday morning, Dickens was privately buried in the Poets' Corner. Through the influence of Dean Stanley and owing to the universal wish that he should be laid to rest with the other worthies of English literature, the family consented to depart from the oft-expressed desire of the deceased to be buried near Rochester and allowed his remains to remove to London. They, however, determined that the proceedings should be conducted as private as possible, and when the body arrived at Charing Cross Railway Station at 9 in the morning, yesterday morning, no one was there to receive it but friends who had been invited to take part in the ceremony. Mr. Dickens' well-known repugnance to cantankerous display was well known, and his wishes were finally observed. So now, that's where he's buried. Whoa, Westminster Abbey, isn't that something? I wonder who's going to pay his respects. There he is. Prince Charles is going, and there's Poets' Corner right there, right within Westminster Abbey, and that's where Charles Dickens is buried. Wow. Again, it says died June 9th, 1870. So we had a lot of things out there that we were given by Charles Dickens, weren't we? Christmas Carol is one that we go through every single year, very, very big one. 1808 was the very, very first one put onto movie, a silent movie. One of the first silent movies ever came out, and that was A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. Wow, wow, so that's in movie form. We also had a whole bunch of different other ones coming on. A Christmas Carol, 1808. 1910, 1938, 51, 1960, 1982, 1984, 1992, 1997, 1999, 2000, 2004, 2006, and 2009. Wow, 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 wow. Isn't that something? Everybody's in there. Bill Murray, and even there's Jack Klugman. Wow, Oscar was in this picture. And that Oscar Madison was in that, wasn't he? Well, there's a tongue-in-cheek. I'm going to throw it to you, too. Did you know that this wound up being a short television special for 25 minutes? Christmas Carol, December 21st, 1971. This is going to do so well on television that guess what we're going to do with it? We're going to take it to the movie theater. And in 1972, it's going to get Best Animated Short Film. There it is right there. And it's going to get what? An Oscar for that. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Isn't that cool? So Charles Dickens finally got an Oscar for something, didn't he? Isn't that amazing? But bah, humbug, we got a problem here, don't we? And this is going to wind up being all of them out there. They're going to turn around and say this. This happens to be what? Movies. This is the theater. This isn't television. You're taking a television film and putting it into the theater and then getting an Academy Award. No, sir, this can't happen ever, ever again. So this is the only time, and this is a short film that was on television, winds up going to TV first and then going to the movies. This will never happen again because we're not going to give an Oscar to anybody who puts something out on television first. That's the way it's going to be. So now you know the rest of the story on that. So we're going to have a whole bunch of different flavors of the Christmas Carol coming out. This one I always loved, Mr. Magoo's Christmas Carol. Love that one. That's where I pretty well saw Charles Dickens first. Then we have the Muppet Christmas Carol out there, Scrooge with Albert Finney, and then Bah Humduck. That happens to be with Daffy Duck and Looney Tunes. So we had all these different things all connected with the Christmas Carol, all of that. And then we had this, the Christmas Carol itself. Now, when you really, really think about this, we could put this into modern day terms, couldn't we? Very, very much. And again, this is the Christmas Carol. And this guy's name is Scrooge. That's almost in our dictionary, like bah humbug and all those other kind of terminologies, all from Charles Dickens. So there was a firm called Scrooge and Marley. And Marley's going to wind up dropping dead, well, dying at 7 years. And so Scrooge is going to own, he's going to own Scrooge and Marley for 7 years as accountants. Wow. If you ever want to meet a more mean, nasty, downright money-hungry man, it was Ebenezer Scrooge. Greed was his number one deal. Number one thing, greed. Money, greed, there is no God. There is nothing like that, right? It's money, greed, and power. That's what his heart was like, total ice. That's what it was, total ice. No feeling whatsoever. In fact, this poor gentleman's going to come up to him on Christmas Eve and say, you know what, I've got all these debts. Yes, you do. Well, couldn't you let me pay them a little bit behind the schedule here? No. You knew darn well when you came and you borrowed money from me that you're going to have to pay interest. Well, now you're going to have to pay it in full. But my wife, she's got a problem with this. I mean, we could be out in the street. Well, it's not her that should go to debtor's prison. It's you. You should go to debtor's prison. But what about Christmas, sir? It's Christmas tomorrow. Bah, humbug. I don't care anything about Christmas. I want my money. I want my money right now. I want it, and you're going to have to get it for me. Gosh darn it anyway. And so here comes Fred, and Fred happens to be his little nephew. Hey, Uncle, I just wanted to stop by your office here, your accounting office, and tell you something. Merry Christmas to you. Merry what? Merry Christmas to you. I have the spirit of Christmas inside of me, and I'm hoping that you might consider having a Merry Christmas. I don't like Christmas. Christmas is a waste of time. People aren't working. They should be working on Christmas. They should be earning as much money as they can, right? As much money as they can. Oh, Christmas, bah, humbug. Well, I'm just going to say Merry Christmas to you anyway, Uncle. Just wanted to wish you Godspeed on that. Christmas, bah, humbug. And so he wishes a Merry Christmas. Now, the interesting thing is this, from what I have read, Charles Dickens is the first one to put Merry into Christmas. Merry Christmas came out from him. So before that's Christmas, now it's Merry Christmas. And so here comes these two fellas in there, and they're going to go towards Scrooge's office, and they're going to say, can you please give to the poor? You'll give to the poor, won't you? You'll give to the poor. And Scrooge is going to say, well, aren't there prisons? Aren't there workhouses? I give to those places. That's where those poor people should go, is the prisons and workhouses and that kind of stuff. Their children should help to pay their debts back. That's what they should do. After all, they owe us all this money, don't they? Oh, bah, humbug, I can't believe this. No, I'm not going to give you any more money. In fact, I give to those, and that's enough. That's enough as far as I'm concerned. I'm not going to give you another dime. Good day, sir. And so they leave. We can't believe that this guy is this stingy. I can't believe it. And so there's his worker, Bob Cratchit. Can you imagine having to work under this clown here? Could I please get Christmas Day off, or at least Christmas Eve? Can I be with my family? Couldn't I? You did that last year, didn't you? Oh, yes, sir. And yeah, I have all your money here tied up, don't I? So therefore, I won't pay you for certain things. You're lucky if you're coming to me for anything, aren't you? You're very, very, oh, yes, sir, I know, sir. Yes, sir, I understand that. Well, could you please just give me some time off with my family? All right, but you had better be back here very, very, very early the next morning to make up for this kind of stuff. Bah, humbug, I can't believe Christmas. I don't like Christmas. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of total time. Money and greed and power, that's the way it is. That's how it should be, right? So Ebenezer Scrooge goes out. And guess what? Ebenezer Scrooge has no friends whatsoever. Nobody likes Ebenezer Scrooge, and Ebenezer Scrooge likes nobody else. I like money. I worship money. That's what the whole world is about, isn't it? It's about money. Oh, this Christmas, this is ridiculous. Bah, humbug. I don't like Christmas at all. It's a waste of time, a waste of time. So he winds up eating at a restaurant, which basically, how much? Can I have a little dessert here? Well, that'll be extra, sir. Oh, I'm not going to pay for that. No, I'm not going to have any dessert. The heck with that. I'll go home. I can be a little hungry tonight. So he goes home. There it is right there. Jacob Marley's face on the knocker. Woo! Now, you know whose house this was? I'll give you a hint. It had originally been his law partner, Jacob Marley's home. And now, through a little finagling in there, when Jacob Marley died, guess who wound up owning the home? Ebenezer Scrooge did. Ebenezer Scrooge. It's like, what the heck is Marley's face? I must have a little bit too much to drink or something here. This is ridiculous. I can't believe his face is on that knocker there. Wow. Oh, I'm so tired, you know, all this stuff. This is a real worry that I'm losing all this money tomorrow. I'm losing all this money. I can't believe I'm going to lose it. Well, I'm just going to have a nice, little bowl of soup or whatever before I go to bed. And as he's sitting there having his refreshment, all of a sudden, the clocks are going to start to go off. They're going to go bong, bong, bong. Bells are going to start chiming. Everything's starting to go. He's hear bells, more bells, more bells. The clocks are chiming. Everything's going. What the heck is going on? Well, I'm feeling this cold draft coming in here, and I'm here by myself. What's going on? Oh, nothing's going on. It must be my imagination. It's got to be my imagination. And all of a sudden, here comes Jacob Marley, and he floats right through the door. Hey, look who's back for his house. It's Jacob Marley. Hey, Jacob, how are you? Marley, my old friend, I can't believe it's you. I can't believe it. Boy, are you big. And you're big business. That's what you are. You're so great. In the meantime, he's got chains all over him, doesn't he? Whole lot of chains. He's saying, Ebenezer, don't you understand? I'm here to warn you about something. See these chains here? This ain't the chain mutiny right here. I'm in trouble. You know, with all the dirty things that I did to a lot of people out there, guess what? These are all my crimes. These are all my sins right here in front. Well, you were a good man, though. You're big in business, big in business. I was terrible with what I was supposed to do. I wasn't supposed to be out there taking the people. I was supposed to be out there trying to help the people. Look what I did. I worshiped greed. I worshiped money. I worshiped everything I could except the right thing. And now I have to pay for it because I'm dead. I should have learned my lesson. I should have moved forward. I should have done what I had to do, which is to turn it around, and I didn't. So my only hope, I always loved you as a friend. I'm telling you right now, Scrooge, you got to change. You got to change. See all these people out there surrounding that lady? They are all in pain. They're all wailing. These are all people that are just like me. They were greedy. They treated people rotten. They kicked and clawed their way to the top and wound up totally on the bottom. Absolutely horrible. I don't want to see you that way. I don't want to see you that way. But if you don't change your ways, if you don't get away from money, you're going to wind up like me. And I'm telling you right now, I can see, but you can't. You have more heavy chains than I do. And I'm going to go to all eternity with these chains on because I was greedy. I was greedy. I was greedy. Now, you're going to have a chance, and the chances is pay heed because the clock will strike 1. As soon as it does, the Spirit will come on in here to try to help show you to mend your ways. But why would I want to mend my ways? I want to be like you. No, you don't want to be like me. I'm telling you, you don't know how bad it is on the other side. You have no idea. So almost like Alfred Hitchcock, what's Marley going to have to do? He's going to have to scare him, isn't he? He's going to have to give him a Twin Towers, isn't he? Otherwise, he's not going to change. And so here comes your clock. And as it's getting towards 1 o'clock, he's trying to sleep, and suddenly, bong, here comes the ghost. Wow. I thought it was Ed Wynn, but it's not. And so he's going to suddenly show up. This is the ghost of Christmas past. And he's going to come floating into the room. It's like, why are you bothering me? Well, why do I need to be talking with you? I know Marley said, so you must be the head ghost here coming on in, right? And you want me to do what? You want me to follow you into my past? Why would I want to do that? The past is over. The present is right now, and the future is what I'm looking at. But I'll tell you something. I'm getting awfully scared with you people. I really am. This is rather frightening. I mean, basically, I can look right through you. And you want me to do what? You want me to follow you? Well, all right. So he's going to take him. And what's he going to do? Here's where I'm going to take you, Scrooge. See that boy sitting there at that desk? Recognize the back of his head? That's me. Yeah, it is you. And you're all by yourself. You're all alone, aren't you? Nobody liked you very much, did they, Scrooge? Think, what happened to you, Scrooge? Why didn't you feel lonesome? Yes, I did. Yes, I did. But there's somebody else out there who's going to give Scrooge some problems, and we'll talk about him in a minute. In the meantime, oh my God, it's my beautiful sister Fan. There she is. There she is, the love of my life. I can't believe I'm seeing Fan again. She's been dead for so many years, and she was so beautiful, so beautiful. And she's going to have problems, you know, when she's trying to have that baby. She's going to have problems. She's going to die at childbirth. But right here, my gosh, everything's fine. Everything's great. Everything's wonderful. And she wants me to come home to meet my father. And you know, my father was pretty rough on me because he didn't like the fact that my mother died. His mother will die giving birth to Scrooge. So maybe that's why Scrooge became the way he did, isn't it? So then he's going to take him out to see old Fezziwig. Now, old Fezziwig happened to be his old boss. And his old boss was a different type of a person, wasn't he? My gosh, there's old Fezziwig out there. I can't believe it's him. I can't believe it's him. Oh my gosh, he's the guy who gave my first apprenticeship. I was under him. And oh, did we get nice Christmas Yeah, we did get good Christmas bonuses under him. Well, you know, I guess maybe I could change a little bit, but my gosh, they're having so much fun. I had so much fun when I was with him. My gosh, I can't believe it's old Fezziwig. It's been so many years, so many years. Oh, Alice, not Alice. You're not taking me to see Alice. I can't bear to see her. Oh, we were so much in love. She loved me. I loved her. She was my betrothed. I mean, I gave her a ring, and yes, she was going to marry me. Everything's great. Everything's wonderful. Yes, but you threw that away, didn't you? You threw that away, didn't you? I don't mean to be looking at this thing. I have to look at money. I have to. That's the way of the world. Don't you understand that? That's the way of the world. I guess it is, but my gosh, I sure miss her. Wow. And then there was Fan. I will never forget that. As, oh, you're not taking me to see her again, are you? Her death? Oh, no. Please don't take me to see her. What's going to wind up happening is your sister, as you know, she wound up dying trying to give birth to a child. And it's going to wind up being that the child's going to wind up being your nephew. And the saddest thing is your nephew Fred will be born and she will die. The same reason why your father disliked having you come on this earth is because his wife died, and now the same thing's going to happen again. You can't let this happen again. You can't. I've got to leave the room. I've got to get out of here right now. And on her deathbed, after he had left the room, I don't have a photograph of this here, but she's going to come up just for a brief second and tell some of the people in there, I hope my brother Scrooge, I hope to heck Ebenezer, please, for heaven's sake, take care of Fred for me. Take care of Fred for me. And now the ghost is allowing him to hear that for the first time. Oh my God, that's what you wanted me to do, to take care of Fred? And I didn't know that. I've been so horrible. I've walked away from him all these years, from my little nephew. How could I do that to my sister? How could I do that to my sister? Ah, yes. And then there's old Fezziwig. There he is right there. Yeah, what's going on with Fez? Who's that man next to him? Oh, I recognize him as being another employer I had. Oh, yes. Listen in. Take care on what happened with Fezziwig. So, Fezziwig, you know, I'm going to tell you something right now. You need to sell your company to me. You need to sell it to me. You're not making much of a profit. You really aren't. And, you know, quite frankly, you could be right under me. We could kind of go together on this thing a little bit and, you know, just being a little bit notch under me here. And with that, you're going to make so much money. Don't you understand that? But don't you see, and Fezziwig's going to say, money isn't everything. It's not. It's the employees out there. When I see the look and happiness in their faces working here, that's a joy for me. So I'm not interested in selling my company to you. I'm sorry. I'm too happy with my company, too happy with my employees. I love my life. You love your life? Are you out of your mind? Life is money. Life is power. Life is greed, isn't it? Life is good when you have that, don't you? And so with that, he's going to shake his head, but he's going to see Ebenezer Scrooge sitting right there. Ah, Ebenezer Scrooge. So you're working, how do you like working under Fezziwig? Well, I think Fezziwig does a good job. Oh, but you could be making a lot more money. Come work for me. Come work for me. You think you're only going to get an eighth here of what I'm going to pay you? Trust me, you're going to love the position that you come on into. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. And so with that, he's going to change. And so he's going to wind up working with Jacob Marley, who looks just like Patrick McNee, which it is. And so there's Jacob Marley. That's John Steed, by the way. And so Jacob Marley is going to wind up working together with with Ebenezer Scrooge. And they're going to work for their employer, right? Greed, money, power, that's what you guys need. You're going to get this accounting firm moving forward. We're going to do very, very well in here. Trust me, we're going to do well. In the meantime, somebody sees this, and it's Alice. And Alice is going to turn around and she say, Ebenezer, I can't stay with you. I can't be together with you here. I can't see a life of us. You're all greed. Don't you know you've changed ever since you got away from Mr. Fezziwig? You've become greedy. You've become dirty. That's all you talk about is money, 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 money. If it's me or money, which way are you going to go? Well, of course it'd be you. I don't see that. I don't see that. Say that you'll give this money up. I can't do that. And so he's going to walk away from the love of his life right there because of this. Oh yeah, cold hard cash, that does it every time, doesn't it? And so here it comes. There's Jacob Marley as well as Ebenezer Scrooge right there, and there's their employer. And guess what he did to the company? Bankrupted. That's the big thing today, is it? Bankrupted, didn't it? We bankrupted the whole company. We ruined everything, didn't we? I can't believe that you did this. I can't believe. So here's some of the other stockholders here. You wiped us out. We're going to get ruined. We're going to go into debtor's prison. How can we get out of this thing? We have an idea. Oh, okay, Ebenezer, tell us, what's your idea? Well, you know what we've got? We've got some money for you. We got some money to do for you. And what me and Jacob Marley will do is we will give you money. Oh, okay, and we'll be able to make this place whole and you'll be fine. There's only one thing we're going to ask for. 51% is what we want. We're going to control your company. What? You're taking the company right out from underneath us? I can't believe that. That's the way it is. That's the way it is. And so now they've taken the company, both of them. And they're going to move ahead together, aren't they? Well, something's going to wind up happening eventually, and that's where Jacob Marley suddenly winds up getting pretty sick. Because even though money's out there, you ask certain millionaires and billionaires, you can't stay on this earth for too long, can you? Ask a whole bunch of them. They're all gone, aren't they? So this guy's going to turn around and winds up, Ebenezer Scrooge is going to find out, yeah, Jacob Marley, his good friend, is going to be dying. He's going to die. So what? Everybody dies. They all die, right? So, yeah, I guess I'm going to get his company. I guess I'm going to get all the rest of it. And you want me to do what? You want me to take my good time here at 5 o'clock here and leave to go see Marley before he dies? We close at 7. Don't you understand? At 7 o'clock. I will leave at 7 o'clock, and that's when it's going to be. So he's going to wind up going to Jacob Marley's home, and when he does, there's the undertaker right there. Oh, is Marley dead already? Well, we don't know, but he's in the next room. He could be. All of a sudden, he goes over to see if Marley's dead, and Marley still is alive. And Marley's going to warn him, for heaven's sakes, we need time. Don't you understand something right now? We got a problem here, but please take heed. And all of a sudden, Marley will die. And now Marley's dead. And the best friend that Ebenezer Scrooge ever had was Jacob Marley. And what's he going to do? Cash it in. Cash it all in. I'm going to wind up getting his house. I'm going to wind up getting his possessions. I'm going to wind up getting his name. I'm going to get everything because I'm Ebenezer Scrooge. I'm Ebenezer Scrooge. I'm king of everything right now. King of business and finance is what I am. Everybody loves Ebenezer Scrooge. They're all going to love me, don't they? And so, yes, Ebenezer, that's what you did. You even betrayed your friend Marley. Can you believe that? You could betrayed your good friend Marley. I can't believe it. But I have to go. And so there goes the ghost of Christmas past. And here comes what? The ghost of Christmas presents. I said presents. It's present. There you go. There he is right there. And what do I have interest in Santa Claus for? This is ridiculous. I have no interest in that whatsoever. I don't have any holly in my heart. You know that as well as I do. But you need to see how current people deal with Christmas. So I am going to take you. You and I are going to go out and we're going to see how the average person deals with Christmas. And so here's the coal miners out there. And the coal mining family, you know darn well these people work in the earth, don't they? They work way down the earth. And yet, they're happy. They're singing Christmas carols about baby Jesus. That happens to be their profit, not what you're making. That is their profit, is baby Jesus, not your kind of profit. Whoa, whoa, whoa. So look at how happy everybody is out there. Meanwhile, you're miserable in your home, aren't you? That's all right. That's how I live. Don't you know that? So he goes out and wanders. And he suddenly sees his nephew. My gosh, his wife is absolutely beautiful, isn't it? Or his family's absolutely beautiful, aren't they? And so what suddenly happens is there's a nephew there. Well, let's have a toast to my Uncle Scrooge out there. Scrooge, you don't want to have a toast to him. Well, I'm telling you, I tried to get him to come on in here and he wouldn't do it. But I still think that we should have a toast to him. And so there he is. And he's going to say, you know, I guess I should have been more kinder towards Bob Cratchit, who works for me. I did kind of tell him he better get back pretty quick. But so what you want to take me to Cratchit now? He's happy. What's wrong with this guy? I don't give him much money and he's happy. I can't believe that. Now, why in the world should he be happy? In fact, doesn't he have a son by the name of Tiny Tim? Oh, wrong Tiny Tim out there. I had to throw that in for a second. No, this is the Tiny Tim. I had to. So there, we'll tiptoe through the tulips on that one. So there's his son. He's got a crutch, doesn't he? He's got a problem with his leg, and he could die. But Bob Cratchit's end of it is, this is Christmas. This is Christmas. My son should be okay. He should be okay. Of course he's going to be okay, right? Oh, you family, he's going to be all right. God bless us one and all. We're all going to be very, very happy here. And Tiny Tim, even though he's got this problem, will get it fixed because he has an upbeat attitude. Everything should be fine. Everything should be great. And now we're going to have a toast to Ebenezer Scrooge, my boss. Are you out of your mind? I don't want to boo, hiss, humbug. Now we're getting upset. We don't want to toast him. Look at he treats you like dirt. But the Christmas spirit out there, that should be able to change him. Think about that. It probably is at this moment, isn't it? And so I want to be able to have a toast to my boss, Ebenezer Scrooge, to his health. Well, I don't see why I should do that being your wife, but all right, I will at least toast to Ebenezer Scrooge's health. And so here's to Ebenezer Scrooge. And so now they're out in the street. And something the ghost of Christmas present has hidden underneath his outfit, and it's two children. He says, don't look. This is ignorant and want right there. That's been in front of you every single day, so don't look. You walk right past it. Walk right past ignorance and want. After all, aren't there any prisons for these children? No workhouses for them, right? That's what you said. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that. I can see what's going on, and it doesn't matter. Because you have your fate. Your fate is coming. It's coming very quickly. And so now it comes 3 o'clock time period. The ghost of Christmas present leaves, and here comes the Christmas future right there. That bony finger comes towards him. And this guy doesn't say one single word, does he? Not a word. And so there he is. And he's coming towards him, and he's saying, something tells me, and I'm pretty sick on this one, you're not saying a word. I just must follow you. So this is going to wind up being my future? My future. What do you mean? What do you mean Tiny Tim dies? He can't die. He can't die. If there's enough hospitals or something out there to help him, I should be able to help him. I want to be able to turn this thing around. I'm telling you right now, he can't die. This is going to destroy Cratchit. I can feel it. He can't die. He can't die. Whose bedroom are you taking me to? Oh my God, it's my bedroom. It's Marley's old bedroom. I'm laying there. You mean that's me? Dead? Dead. Where's my curtains? Where's all my stuff? What's happened to everything? What is this? Wait a minute. Isn't that the lady who worked for me in there? She was my housekeeper. She's got all my belongings, all my goods, all my stuff. She's selling them. She's selling them off for the highest bid, whatever she can get. And there's even the undertaker selling stuff. And what's she saying? She's going to get a lot from my curtains, the very curtains on my bed. She's going to be taking that. In fact, what? Oh my God, she took even my clothes that I died in and put me in something else. After all, the clothes are worth more money than I'd ever be. After all, everybody hated and despised Scrooge, didn't they? Everybody hated him. And so, you have to follow me over here, one more spot. It's a grave. There it is right there. And what's it say on that grave? Ebenezer Scrooge. That's my it can't be me. It can't be me. This is the end of my life. It can't be. Please, please, please forgive me for whatever I did. I'm sorry for what I did. Wait a minute, maybe I can change. I can change if you just give me an idea. Please let me change. Please help me change. I'll change. I'll change. Please, please, please. Don't leave me. I'll change. I'll change. I'll change. And he suddenly wakes up. You mean I'm here? You mean I made it? There's that housekeeper. There she is. I can't believe it. Oh, I want to dance around the room with her. Oh, is she fantastic? I can't believe this guy is nuts. He was real greedy. Now he's happy. He's out of his mind. Ebenezer Scrooge is out of his mind. I'm not out of my mind. In fact, you know what I'm going to do is this. You only get paid like a fourth. I'm going to give you a huge 50% increase, even higher than that. I'm going to give you a huge increase. You, Mr. Scrooge? That's right. I'm a different Scrooge right now. I've learned my lesson. I'm going to take care of you and everybody. Oh, my gosh. Well, I got to look out the window. Hey, little boy out there. What a splendid little boy. Isn't he a cute little boy? Isn't he a handsome little boy? Young man, I would like to be able, is that big turkey still down there in the window shop, the shop nearby here? That great big fat one that's huge? Yes, it is. I tell you what, if you could get that turkey, I'll pay you handsomely for getting the turkey and also bring the store owner back. We are going to get that turkey over to the Cratchit's home. But don't tell anybody in the Cratchit family that I sent it. Please don't. Merry Christmas to you, young man. Merry Christmas to you, sir. And so there's the Cratchits. They don't realize that, guess what? Ebenezer Scrooge is the one who gave them that beautiful, great, big, fat turkey. Wow, wow, wow. So he starts going around. We can't believe this is the same guy. He's totally changed. He's different. He's wonderful. Everybody loves him. Merry Christmas to you all. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. And he knocks on his nephew's door. By the way, you know how you wanted me to be at your home for Christmas? May I come in and be part of it? Oh my God, yes you can. Oh, Uncle Ebenezer, this is so wonderful. What's really kind of cool too is this lady here, I didn't put her picture up, she's actually one of the nuns from The Sound of Music. Right in there, isn't that cool? So you become a nun later on. That's how this affected him. She became a nun after this whole thing. So there it is. Wow. So his nephew Fred is all excited. This is wonderful. This is great. And then he's back at the office. And when he's back at the office, here comes Bob Cratchit. Cratchit, you're late coming in here. Cratchit, I got a problem with you, Cratchit. Can you come over by my desk? Cratchit, there's something I got to tell you something right now. You know what? We're not going to have any more of this any longer. You should be able to do something. You know what I want to do for you? First of all, how much are you making? I'm going to give you at least 50, 75% more I'm going to give you. We're going to increase that right away for you right now. You're kidding. No. In fact, you know what? I want you to have yourself a good Christmas. That's what I want to have you do. We're going to start to have some changes in here. There's a new me. There's a new Ebenezer Scrooge. Oh my gosh, yes, I can see that. What happened to you? I had a dream, like Dr. King. I had a dream the other night. With all these things that happened to me, I'm a changed man. And you know what I want to do? I want to be able to take care of you and your family. I definitely worry about your little one, Tiny Tim, out there. I want to make sure that he's going to come through. Can you do that for me? I want to be part of your family. That's what I want to do. Merry Christmas to you. Merry Christmas, Bob Cratchit. Very, Merry Christmas to you. And so with that, what's the family going to wind up doing? Eventually, they're going to wind up calling him Uncle Scrooge. Uncle Ebenezer Scrooge when he comes on over, right? And the word Merry Christmas is going to come out. And what's little Tiny Tim going to say at the end? God bless us, everyone. Wow. So that's where that came out. Was from the Christmas Carol. And so with all these things that Charles Dickens offered to us, every one of these stories, about 15 of them in all, what did he do? Well, to let you know, one of the biggest things, you know that he's the greatest novelist of the Victorian era ever. He even got her laughing. I should put a laughing picture of her up there. But there she is. That's Queen Victoria, right? She loved his writing. And so if he was here today, what would be the number one thing that he would tell all of us, including everybody in Washington, D.C.? He'd say this: I will honor Christmas in my heart and try to keep it all the year. Can you imagine if we all did that constantly? But I guess enough of me. I'm going to let you go unless there's a question. Like, bah, humbug, our tail ends. Yes? About a year or so to clear his father. Yep. Now, probably his father had other debts and things to pull in, but that's only the brief synopsis that I had to where he may have had monies coming from another spot, but he had to help out, let's put it that way. Plus, things weren't as expensive as they are today, right? So, yeah, and that's what he was doing. But all of a sudden, you have it stop. Got me money coming in from someplace, but yeah, he did help to get him out, and it didn't take too long. But it was enough. Think about it. If you're in prison, your dad's in prison, and you happen to be sitting in a storefront window doing this stuff, it's going to affect your mind.
Did they make books out of all the plays,
Oh, yeah, yeah, most of the stuff is all books. Yep, that's what I was showing, but he broke them up first to kind of get you interested, so. In fact, there's even more than that, but I can't remember. Yes?
All those guys in that era seem to smoke. Did he smoke cigarettes?
That I don't, that's a good question. I don't know. Maybe it stunted his growth. That's why he died at 58. I'll have to find that one out. Good question. No idea. First of all, let me ask you this real quick. How did you like this one? Was it okay? Okay, just to let you know, this is the second time I've done this. So this has been enhanced a little bit for you, particularly with the Christmas Carol, particularly since it's around Christmas time. Yes?
Did he do the sketches?
Yes. Oh my gosh, well, you great lady. Yes, yes, yes. There's a lot of sketches and things were done by him. There's another gentleman that wound up dying in there, and he was doing the sketches, so you're going to see Charles Dickens stepping on to do some of those sketches as well. Thank you very much. You got the world's smartest audience. Thank you again.